Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Paul, the 920 trader with 920 Trading and Trading Dakota. Today is Thursday, March 7th, 2024, and this is how we traded SPY today. Now, before we start out, I woke up this morning, wasn't feeling really hot, wasn't feeling 100%. So I woke up, I ate some breakfast and thought, you know what, maybe I'll start feeling a little bit better. Now, it's not that I'm feeling sick. It's just maybe a little bit of a lack of sleep last night. I wasn't feeling 100%. So I was thinking, you know what, I don't know if I'm feeling up to actually putting on trades today because you have to be all there. Just a little bit foggy in the head today. So, I didn't really think that I was really going to do much today in the markets. But again, we got an entire community that we're trying to take care of. So I was on the mic all day, but let's talk about what the chart presented to us. So we're looking at the pre-market high, 513.29. Again, getting into that rarefied air again. So 513.29, which happened on the last candle of pre-market. I'm looking at that pre-market low down at 508. So I'm thinking, hey, we got over $5 worth potential moves from the downside back to the upside. Now, Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, met or was with the Senate today. So yesterday he was in front of the House. Today he was in front of the Senate. So we didn't know what was going to go on at 10 o'clock this morning. He was on for, I think, about 2 hours. But at any rate, we got pre-market highs sitting up here. We got pre-market lows sitting down here. The thing about Jerome Powell is he can say one thing and the market can absolutely do a 180 and just go in the opposite direction. But he's pretty smart about that. He kind of hedges his bets and doesn't make too many declarative statements that we are going to do this or going to do that. It's more like, if this happens, then we might do this, or if this happens, then we might do that. So at any rate, he was on or in front of the Senate this morning. So let's get into the trading day. What happened during the trading day today? We started off and we got this cross. We got this cross early. So at 9:11 this morning. And again, I didn't play any of this, but let's kind of see what happened. I did go ahead and look at a couple of zones high. So I looked at a 30-minute zone high, and let me get to those real quick without giving away the day. So I'm looking at this 30-minute zone over here, folks. So I got this 30-minute zone over here. And again, you can see how the day played out. So I've got this 30-minute zone here. I've got this 15-minute zone up here, which we are able to use as targets throughout the day. And again, I've got some pivot points. But here's how she played out today. So nothing for me. We got that first cross to the upside, which would have been a really, really nice play to the upside if you had a little patience in the play. Here are a couple of different ways to take this play. You can take this bounce off this double bottom. You could take any one of these plays inside the fishtail. So that's the space between the 9 and the 20. So any of these spaces in here. You could also take this almost double cross to the upside, because on this candle right here, we got above VWAP. Now, we were directly below this 30-minute zone. So you're thinking, okay, I'm going to have to breach that to the upside in order to validate the play. And that is absolutely true. But there were different spots to get into this play. And there was some safety. You could use the 9 as safety. You could say, okay, if it breaches this VWAP back to the downside, that is my get out card. Or again, you can just follow this thing up, or perhaps look at a higher time frame. So look at a higher time frame. I failed to mention this cross to the downside. Nice cross to the downside right in here. Double cross to the downside. We were able to make it through VWAP. I was looking at this play, and again, wasn't in any kind of a trade, and was thinking based on volume or lack of volume in this area that we could push down to this 511.87. It didn't happen. So at that point, play it back to the upside. Again, breached these levels in here, got through a couple of different levels. Again, 30-minute zone and the pre-market high. Pre-market high, once you hit that, it likes to reverse as it did early, and then it made its way back up to the upside. So we used this level, once we tested it just a couple of times, used this level as support and ran it back up. Where did we run it to? I didn't have anything past the 15-minute zone. So I'm looking for levels. So I just plugged in my pivot points, and these are the levels that I got. So that first level up here, 514.56. Look at this thing. It just ran and ran and ran and ran. If you had any patience whatsoever, that's a pretty easy dollar move. I mean, it's right there, folks. And again, you can just plug in pivot points and get the specific levels. Once we're able to get through this 30-minute zone right here and this 15-minute zone right here, run it back up to that pivot point. So we had that cross to the upside, a little cross to the downside here. We had a few times today where it didn't do a whole lot. I mean, we had this downside, we had this continuation play back to the downside, across to the upside. We actually did get a confirmation candle on this particular play. So remember, we get that cross to the upside, and then that first green candle says, hey, it's time to get into calls. But we rejected directly off of this pivot point. So at that point, the play becomes null and void, unless you've got a really, really wide stop. You're thinking, okay, I'm taking the play up here. I'm going to make my stop this 30-minute zone. Most people are going to say, okay, if we breach this 15-minute zone, I'm going to take myself out, because you never know what's going to happen, obviously. So know where your levels are. So this cross down, again, did we get a confirmation candle on this? No, we did not. So we got a cross to the downside. We're waiting for that first red candle. It did not happen. Now, on this particular play, what did we have? We had a cross to the downside, and then we breached this level, and then we had a cross to the upside in here. Again, this candle right here, this is a dicey little play in here, folks. But, there was a little bit of room to the upside. At this point, you're thinking, okay, can I take this from 29 to 56 and a little bit higher? Yeah, what are you going to get? 20 cents out of the play? A little bit better than 20 cents? I mean, you can scalp 20-cent plays all day long if that's what you want to do. But again, these areas in here were difficult areas to trade unless you're playing, directly between zones. So this, what is this? 514.11 up to 514.56. You could say, okay, I'm going to play that 40-cent zone. So what is it, 45-cent zone? You can play those zones all day long if, in fact, they hold. And for a while, they did. Well, that's 11. Move that around just a little bit. Back to that level. Okay. So we had another cross to the upside, folks. And guess what she did? So we had a cross up here, a cross down here, a little cross down, and then we had a confirmation in on this candle again. So we get that cross to the upside, first green candle, directly into this level of resistance. Do you want to take that? Yeah, you can. Realizing you have resistance right here, but you can put on the trade with a stop that's really close by. Where are you predefining your risk on this play? On this one, you'd probably have to use this double bottom as a stop to get out of the play. So again, it rode that 9, and it rode and it rode and it rode and it rode and it rode. And we took out this pivot point high up here. What did we have up here? Nothing. We had nothing. And again, since we are hitting all-time highs, folks, we have no historical context whatsoever. We can't look left and go, well, I've got a supply zone over there. The last time I hit that zone, it rocketed down, just like we did here and here. These actually acted as support. So that old resistance at sometime is going to become new support. So anyway, we took it out. Got a couple of plays to the downside here. Now, you will see a smiley face on my chart, for the simple reason that I was having a discussion with one of our members, and we're talking specifically about different brokerages. Now, I have brokerages with E-Trade and Webull and TOS. All of those I mostly trade on my TOS account because TOS allows me to market into my orders, and I trade SPX. And you don't want to miss fills with SPX. You just don't want to miss fills. And I said, hey, that's why I like TOS. He says, I can market into my orders. And I said, yeah, in times of low volatility, you can market in. But today was kind of a medium volatility day. I think we had around 20% volatility, somewhere right around in there. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a test play. I'm going to do a test play in here. I didn't tell anybody when I was going to do the test play. And that's the thing, folks. I don't call out my trades. So here is the why behind that. I give clues along the way as to what I am doing. And a lot of people know, based on the things that I'm saying, okay, if we breach this level to the downside, you have your resistance right here. We got to cross to the downside. You're breaching a major level. You're getting back below a major level of resistance. If you're looking to get into the trade right here, your stop needs to be right here. If it's a cross, they can make the assumption that I am at least considering putting on the trade. Okay, so I got into this trade right here on the rejection on this. It was actually kind of a violent rejection off of this pivot point up here. We failed to breach this to the upside. If we'd have breached this to the upside, I'd have gone into calls. But we did not breach that to the upside because we're going to use that resistance as support, take it back up to wherever it will go. Got a violent rejection, nice little cross to the downside on this candle, and ran it back down to VWAP. Now, that was a really nice play back to the downside. I meant to buy, and again, I was on my Webull account. It's a very, very small account. I meant to buy one SPX contract, and I inadvertently bought two. Only because, again, it was a test to see if I could mark it in. And sure enough, they let me mark it into the play on two SPX contracts. And I wrote it down to VWAP and said, you know what, I'm good for the day. But that's kind of how she played out today, folks. I mean, did we have any more plays? 350. I think 350 was red today. 350 was indeed red. It was red. POC bounced around an awful lot today. You know, we were low, we were high, we were kind of in medium ranges. Generally speaking, when you are below the POC, it acts as resistance. So you can use that as a stop if you're looking for puts. Now, if you're looking for calls, so let's say we get a POC drop down to this level late in the day, like it did. I said, you know what? I don't have any real good understanding of where direction could go. It may go up, it may go down. I have no earthly idea. At one point, I think the POC was right at this level, at this 514.56, which again, that's that pivot point level. At one point, I said, you know what? That's double cross to the downside. If you're looking for puts in here, you got to stop if you breach this back to the upside. I don't know if anybody put the trade on. I certainly didn't. Too late in the day and not feeling 100%. But it kind of ran up just a little bit. It ran up right up into this pivot point again. Now, I was on the mic and I said, okay, folks, we did get that cross to the upside. We are directly above the POC, and we have some thin volume around 514.80. So if we get up to 514.80, I'd be looking at 515.17. So 515.17 was a double bottom on the 5 minutes. So that'd be a nice little 30-cent play, 25-cent play late in the day. And it did it. You know, it took a few minutes. I thought that we'd get a couple of quick candles that pushed us up to that 17 level, but it took a little bit longer than I anticipated. You know, late day, again, that 350 candle was red. And guess what? It ran back to the upside until the very end. Which is most of the time, folks, that 350 candle is going to determine the direction for the rest of the day. But that's how she played out today. And again, I just took the one trade, and it was more of a test trade than anything. Now, if you enjoy our videos, please consider liking and subscribing, and maybe leave us a message. We would greatly appreciate that. Share with your friends also. Now, if you are interested, and again, I'm a little bit off today, folks. If you are interested in live daily trading, there is a link down below for our live trading group. It's at Trading Decoded in the Discord. So that's where it is, folks. We'd love to have you. We're going to give you that first week for free. If you're interested in the 920 crossover strategy, head on over to 920trading.com. All of the information is there as well. And there's a link down for that just below. So that's how she played out today. And again, I feel like I'm a little bit off on this video also, but hey, it is what it is. We just power through and make it to the next day. But thank you for spending a little bit of your precious time with us this afternoon. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a great day. We're going to do it again tomorrow, folks. We're going to trade, and we should have an update video. So have a great rest of the day, folks, and we will see you in the markets.